The Ramayana epic is embedded into the very hearts of every child in India. It is not just an entertaining story. It characterizes human nature in diverse ways to which a child can relate to in his or her own life. The unconscious perception of this well-loved tale therefore strikes a powerful impression on a child's mind, making its psychological impact invaluable. Building bridges allegorically means coping with conflict. When Sita is abducted by the demon Ravan, there are seemingly insurmountable obstacles to overcome it, but Ram rescues her in the end. Despair turns to hope when Hanuman, the Monkey King, assembled all the animals to build a bridge across the ocean to Lanka. Dhanushkodi at the very south of India is believed to be that bridge. The other side ends about 30 kilometers into the ocean, touching the Sri Lankan border of Telangana. Thus, myths are like a wonderful dream come true. What is life without our dreams to color our existence? Animals in Indian mythology. Dr. Krishnanand Kamath describes how the lives of ancient Indians revolved around animals. This vast knowledge is recorded in the scriptures of the time and are older than other scriptures of the world. They contain very modern concepts such as origin of life, organic evolution, and environmental sciences. Dr. Kamath says, ancient Indians had recognized the animal's right to coexist with man. They were loved, nurtured, and worshipped in order to impress upon the commoners about their importance. Were given the status of gods and goddesses. Unfortunately, today we are neither adopting ancient India's compassionate attitude nor scientific approach of the Westerners towards these animals, and hence we are heading towards a catastrophe. Snakes and dragon myths. If the Chinese people believed in the myth of the dragon, the Scots in the Loch Ness monster, and the Hindus in the Naga serpent, then the Maital people of the northeast Indian state of Manipur have their own little known myth of a giant snake. This Vaishnavite tradition is present in several communities across India. Buddhist Jatka stories include a variety of animals in different rebirths. During his long exile in the forest, Ram also developed special relationships with birds and animals. Krishna was also an animal lover. Once, in order to protect the animals from a devastating flood, he lifted a huge mountain where they could take refuge. Emperors, kings, and queens adopted different animals as their emblems. The god Vishnu always carried a conch, which is an eco-skeleton of the animal. In Bengal, the conch shell is blown to herald auspicious occasions or to protect from natural disaster. It is said that all plants are created from the hair of Brahma, the creator. While human life ends with death and burial, plants are just the opposite. They emerge from the earth and draw nourishment from it. Many mythological traditions associate plants with birth or rebirth and with the eternal cycle of life springing forth from death. Some plants yield poisons and some die in winter. So plants also represent death and decay. A variety of trees and plants thus appear in myths and legends as general symbols of rebirth, decay, and immortality. Some plants such as the lotus and the sacred basil have acquired more specific meaning in folklore. The lotus often appears in Hindu, Buddhist, and other Asian myths. In Asian mythology, the lotus may symbolize the female sexual organs from which new life is born. In Hindu mythology, the lotus is said to be the center of the universe, and Brahma is said to have been lotus born. The lotus is also the symbol of the goddess Padma, who appears in both Hindu and Buddhist monuments as a creative force. The holiness of the flower is illustrated by the legend that when Buddha walked on the earth, he left lotuses in his trail instead of footprints. Sesame seeds go as far back as 3000 BC, when the plant was a major source of food, wine and oil, and protected by royalty. The Atharva Veda mentions sesame as a tree and field manure crop that was also offered to the gods. The sesame tree is said to have sprung from the god Vishnu's sweat drops that fell on earth. Thus, fascinating myths about plants and trees are associated with Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, Krishna, and Radha and other gods and goddesses. A symbol of devotion and surrender, the sacred basil or tulsi is believed to be the incarnation of several mother goddesses and is grown outside every temple and home to purify the air and to be used as a medicine. Having religious significance, it is a part of spiritual rituals. The Greek Orthodox Church in India also uses the sacred basil in rituals of prayer. The tulsi is indeed of medicinal value, and such myths make indelible impressions on young minds, highlighting the importance of fauna and flora in our world today, where our environment is being destroyed callously. Such myths bring trees and plants to life by giving them a magical transformation from unseen divinity to a different form that is visible and present, having a voice and character of its own. A scientific explanation that followed would make so much more sense in that the introduction has instantly grabbed the full attention of a child in the form of an astonishing and fantastical event that is not just a story but a belief and a part of their daily rituals in the home. Education, medicine, flying vehicles and defensive weapons. The Gutenberg research papers describe how during the period of the Mahabharata and later, medical science was a well-practiced profession. An analysis of the Vedas reveals that all the 4 Vedas provide records of various aspects of medical science. Archaeological evidence of Mohenjo-daro and Harappa provides evidence that an organized system of medical practices existed. In the Mahabharata, there are various events describing the role of surgeons and physicians. Unlike the modern medical system based on experimental research, ancient medical science was sourced through the exploration of the pure consciousness, which brings us back to the third eye concept. Flying aircraft and nuclear war and other strange occurrences of the past. Both the Mahabharata and Ramayana described weapons that annihilated major cities using weapons of mass destruction. Sanskrit scholars understood the significance of this only after the first atomic bomb fell in Japan. Authentic verses from the Indian epic support the theory. From the Ramayana, which says, it was a weapon so powerful that it could destroy the earth in an instant. A great soaring sound and smoke and flames, and on it sits death. In the Mahabharata, diverse arrows of flame like a great shower issued forth upon creation. All points of the campus were lost in darkness. The Ramayana and the Mahabharata sound like science fiction, don't they? Not only did aircraft such as Vimans exist, they are nuclear-like weapons. Mainstream scientists may disapprove of introducing mythology in the classroom. So will the pseudo-intellectuals. But as Albert Einstein had once said, imagination is more powerful than knowledge. Imagination is more powerful than knowledge. Since time immemorial, mankind has experienced warfare in all dimensions possible. The difference is in the manner in which events were described. The intention was to eliminate evil and establish truth, for which highly sophisticated weapons were used only when they needed it most, to combat destructive powers. Ancient Indian power and technology therefore underline an important issue to eliminate evil and establish truth. The objective of this narrative is to illustrate how Indian mythology, albeit in allegorical and metaphorical terms, narratives and analysis of these remarkable epics would surely act as an energizer and icebreaker in any classroom, stimulating right-brain thinking to search deep for logical and scientific answers. These stories, embedded in spiritual and ritualistic belief, retold in whatever form, narrative or theatrical media, create indelible psychological impressions on young minds. Myths told in the form of animated theatre literally bring a fantasy to life through its puppet images. Most traditional puppeteers in India still retell mythological stories that continue for nights on end to a mixed audience who never tire of watching these ancient tales come to life. Ancient theatre in India evolved from classical to folk based on mythological narratives.